Okay, I'm live. Hi, everybody. I'm going to invite my friend Susan Cassin Wilson. Oh, she has to first click onto my story. So, good morning. Hi, Ilaria. How are you? I think this is such a fun time to get to know each other in a different way. I love how everybody is. There's lots of interviews going on. There's lots of sharing, and Susan joined, and the silver lining in all of this is that we're connecting. And I think it's interesting and super fun. Hi, Lizzie. So,
Hey,
Susan, we did it.
I did it.
That's really great. It's nice to see you.
I'm so excited I did this.
I know. I definitely feel like the old lady, like which button? I can't. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
No old ladies.
No, we're not old ladies.
No
We're
old ladies.
we're fabulous old ladies.
We are. We're the wise elders.
Mm. I always resisted that, but I'm starting to enjoy it.
Wise, beautiful, looking great elders.
Yeah, with good hair.
You got
And healthy and able
it.
to do stuff.
No doubt.
Yeah. Yeah, my foot's been kind of bothering me, and I did this toe exerciser workshop or going live yesterday, and so of course I had to, do it. I want to walk the talk. So I really worked this foot exerciser, and my feet actually really feel good. And I don't know why that surprises me, but it works.
Yeah. Joe knew what he was doing.
He really did know what he was doing. So, hi, Instagrammers, and it's a pleasure to. Hi, Techno Pilates. Oh my gosh, it's really fun to connect in this new and weird way. Um, as so many things are changing for this time period, at least, I am making the best of it, and we are making the best of it, and here we are, live. So, Susan, so the reason I'm doing this, I'm inspired by my friends who do amazing things and who I feel I want to learn more about, more from the heart. Susan and I have been friends for how long, Susan?
Gosh, probably going on 8 to 10 years. I think you passed me on my beginner's exam. So,
Oh,
yeah, yeah, in New York. I took it in New York, and I think you were the
wow.
one that gave me my beginner practical.
That's a good thing that I passed you and that you did a good job because we
Yes,
might not be
thanks.
having this conversation. And I,
So probably 2004.
mm-hmm. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, great. And I remember really connecting with you, of course, through June Hines, our common friend, June Hines Pilates. Hey,
Yes.
June. And 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 sharing the drives with you between studios. And
Yes.
I recall that was a great time that we got to connect on another level on those car drives.
Yeah, I know each other better.
Yeah. So my friend Susan is a Pilates friend, and we have a rich community of awesome people in our Pilates world. And Susan is top of the heap.
Thank you. Right back at
Yes.
you.
Oh, thank you. And I want to introduce Susan as my beautiful wise human being. Thank you for joining, Susan.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I would love for you to introduce yourself. Who are you and what are you? I'm going to have my coffee right now and listen.
Yeah, it's such an interesting request, right? To introduce yourself. Like people introduce themselves sometimes by what they do, and so that's part of me, what I do. And then the other question is, who am I? And
easy questions.
That's like a huge question, right? Who am I? And about 10 years ago, I read this wonderful book. It's called Women Who Run with the Wolves by Clarissa Pinko's Estes. And she's a storyteller. And at the beginning of the book, she talks about La Loba. She's an elder, this older woman, this character that goes around hunting for the bones of specifically women's souls. Bones that get scattered. And that struck me so deeply. And so one of the things that I often say about myself is that I'm learning to put the bones of my soul back together. I'm finding the bones of my soul. And who am I? I'm a mother. I'm a friend. I'm a partner. I'm strong, courageous, and kind and loving. That's who I am, who I continue to aspire to be. What do I do? I'm a Pilates instructor. I've been a Pilates instructor. I'm trained for 15 years. I'm an executive coach. I have my own firm with my business partner, Carrie O'Brien, called New Leadership Distinctions.
And how long have you been at the executive coaching?
Yeah, we've been together for 8 years. So we've been doing this work for 8 years.
How did you guys meet?
We worked together. I used to work as I was in finance, and then I went into business process reengineering. I was a corporate woman.
Wow.
So I have a corporate past. I'm a certified management accountant, you know.
Are you like
There's kind of a past of me, right? I hear Ava.
Wow. Can you hold on one second? My dog. You can hear my dog?
I hear her. Yeah. I love it.
Hello.
Energy.
She's a Jack Russell Terrier, and usually she barks for like a moment and then stops. But my husband, of course, has decided he's blowing the pollen with the air blower. We've had so much pollen this year. Like there are actual piles of pollen in Seattle.
Well, you know what? I'd rather be there than here. It's like 30 degrees and windy here.
Oh,
so
wow.
Crazy.
So you were saying, sorry, that you have had all of these occupations and
I have. It's been this journey of discovery for me. And Pilates was the beginning, for me, Pilates was the beginning of me choosing what I wanted to do and how I wanted to discover my gifts in a different way, you know, not what I was told I should do or I could do, or, you know, kind of like the standard path. You come out of college and you get a good job, and when I encountered Pilates, there was something that really opened up for me, and I knew that for whatever reason, there was something inside of me that said, I need to do this. This needs to be part of me more than just a student.
Were you What drew you? Were you exercising? Was it for working out?
It was a friend of mine, and she said to me, I'm going to a Pilates class with another fellow Romanos Pilates trained instructor, Susan Munchauer, who I didn't know at the
Oh
time. And
yeah.
I said, "What's Pilates?" And she
Oh.
said, well, I'm not really sure. And I said, well, I'll go.
Uh-huh. Wow.
And that was the beginning. Yeah,
Wow.
that was the beginning. And I do have to say that little did I know, uh, thank goodness I followed my inner guidance, because Pilates has uh, been my healer.
Mm.
Um, 5 years ago, I suffered from a tumor on my spinal cord at T6, and I became a paraplegic.
Wow. Yeah.
And that happened in 4 days.
Yeah.
With Pilates in my body, I I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. I'm
Mm.
walking, I'm doing really well, and
Mm-hmm.
nobody could tell me if I would ever walk again.
Mm.
So
Gulp. And I knew you through that um,
you did.
transition from strong Pilates, Susan with her leg in the air. I posted that picture of you holding your leg in the air, and there's just like this standing strong on one leg, this physical um, Susan, and now knowing you as a different person. This really transitioned you, it seems, into, is that when you found coaching, or
No,
you were
thank
already
goodness.
coaching?
I had already been through. My coaching education is very extensive
Mm-hmm.
and very rigorous. And thank goodness I had been through that, because not only do we learn to work with the whole person, mind, heart, body, purpose, but we do that work ourselves. So I often wonder if my body waited until I was
Totally.
physically, mentally, and emotionally in the strongest
Yeah.
possible place, because this growth that I had on my cord, I had ever since I was born, and
Wow.
I didn't know.
Oh my God, that makes me want to cry. You were ready.
I was, well, yeah,
As ready
I
as
was
one
in,
can be for a spinal cord injury.
yeah,
Yeah.
I can't, words don't describe the process of
Mm.
being taken apart
Yeah.
and then trying to figure out, how do I put myself back together again.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
I'm so honored, and I'm so happy to know you on really lots of different levels, and through this transition, um, because we are Pilates peers, instructors, and I'm Susan's Pilates instructor. And I love what happened the other day when we worked the palm of the foot. Susan worked with the toe exerciser, and brought some, what, describe that. It seems so powerful. And then your footwork was like amazing. And I took a little video, so I'm going to send it to you, on how your footwork changed. And can you tell us about that?
yeah, it was, it was like a release of my foot. So I suffer from spasticity, especially on my right side. And when I am spastic, my muscles contract and tighten, and they stay tightened. And when you had me work my toes, which interestingly enough, I don't want to. Um,
Yeah.
it's always what we don't want to do that, well, usually, that that helps us. When you had me work my toes, they, it was like they came online again,
Mm.
and they were able to connect to the base of my foot, and then my foot was able to connect up, which has been a hard transition up into my glute
Mm-hmm.
and into my hamstrings.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
there was control. All of a sudden there was control. So you started from the foot and gave me the connection this way. Other times I start in another way and try to get the connection down through the base.
Mm. And how is working with your body like a conversation?
Sometimes it's a conversation, sometimes it's an argument,
Mm.
sometimes it's one-sided and I'm screaming at my body.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes my body's screaming at me.
Mm.
So the conversation is, it's inquiry.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes when I teach with the magic circle, I say to people, the magic circle is there to inform us. Yes, it helps us to get more into our powerhouse, but there's something about working with the circle that informs us. It gives us this perspective, this sense of where we are in space and how we're using our body. That's what happens with me, right? There's this, can I do that? My mind thinks I can do it. I give it a try. Sometimes my mind is living in the past.
Mm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, my mind says, well, we can do that again.
Right, 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 right.
But they're doing the tendon stretch. You can do that again.
Yeah,
And then I go to get up onto the reformer and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't do this.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, what can I do?
Mm-hmm.
So there's this process, this accepting. This is where I am now. And this is where you're so beautiful at helping me. This is where you are now. Make a plan. Make a plan. Take the first step.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or even just make a plan and just look at the plan and don't even put the pressure on. I think so many of us in Pilates, we we're doers, and Pilates is action, and we want to do the exercise, and especially if we've been able to do it before, we have an idea, a mind body idea of what it feels like, and we can like put ourselves way too far in the future, where the truth is today is different, this moment is different, this outfit is different, this spring is different, what I ate for breakfast is different, and just coming and being in this moment and making up the first. When we make a plan, muscles fire and the brain
Yes.
changes. So making the plan is a big deal. And I've had to do that for myself. Like, it was really hard to hold myself, with compassion, I guess. Or I can, just like the toe corrector, I can give it to other people. But when I do it myself, I'm surprised at how good it is. So, yeah, making a plan and then taking the pressure away and seeing what's there. What's
Mm-hmm.
there? We're in a rush to get to the next thing. Lots of us miss the gold on the way, don't we? Because we're in a rush.
Yeah, and I can so relate to that, right? So it's been 5 years for me. And never in a
Wow.
million years, ever, 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 would you have told me that I would still be healing, that emotionally, Yes, I would believe that.
Mm-hmm.
Physically, never.
Mm.
I, I no way.
Mm.
I just, I put my mind to it and it's going to get done.
Oh, yes.
And so here's the conversation. The conversation is that my body has its own plan. And and honestly, I'm going to tell you that the universe has its own plan. Hey, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know why. I don't ask why this happened. I know that Pilates is part of my healing. Coaching is part of my healing. Um, the timetable, some of it I have control over, and some of it I don't.
Mm.
But that doesn't mean that I'm resigned. I accept it, and I never lose hope.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me step back. There's moments that I lose hope.
Mm-hmm.
Long term, I don't.
Yeah.
There's moments I lose hope.
Mm-hmm.
I can't
Mm-hmm.
step up in the reformer with my right leg.
Mm-hmm.
I'm furious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
In all
love
my
those
humanity.
moments. I want the best for you, but when you get mad and you like kind of express your anger in your moments, I just love those moments, Susan. I
Well,
love them for you. I see you
it's
cutting through.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah, like anger. So in my coaching work also, we connect mind, heart, and body, as I said.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's a continual conversation. So our body knows what we are feeling before it registers in our mind.
Mm-hmm.
So that for that anger to come out for me, it's really important.
Yeah. And
What?
I love witnessing it. Like it goes through you and then it goes on. It doesn't seem to stick into at least from where I'm sitting, it doesn't stick in a smolder. It seems like it lights, it flies, and then you go on to the next thing.
Yeah, so many of us. Let me say this: I was taught that anger isn't good, and I
Hmm.
think a lot of people, especially in our culture, we shy away from anger. It's
Hmm.
like we're supposed to be even keeled, and we're supposed to be kind and happy, and getting mad is sometimes for a lot of us it's not okay.
Hmm.
But the thing is that there's power behind anger.
Hmm.
Anger is energy.
Hmm.
There's fire there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that fire in the beginning for me with this spinal cord injury, that anger, like I was like warrior. I'm
Hmm.
boom, I'm gonna push through this. Then I learned that I had to step back and that
Hmm.
I needed to pull in some softness
Hmm.
also.
Hmm. Hmm.
There needed to be compassion, like you talked about,
Hmm.
and forgiveness. And I needed to allow myself to feel the sadness, other emotions that were not really good at being okay feeling.
Hmm.
And now when I feel the anger, it's more balanced. That's, I
Hmm.
think, what you
Hmm.
see.
Yeah. Yeah.
I use it and it's all okay.
Right. It comes through, the next thing comes through, you move on. Yeah.
And the most important thing is, too, is that you can hold it, right? So we have to be with people who can hold the emotion.
Hmm. Hmm.
So you can hold the emotion of anger. It's not like you kind of go, "Oh my God, she's all angry."
Right.
Oh, I really like that anger. Let's use
Right.
it.
I love that idea of being in relationship and in conversation and while teaching too, to be able when the client or when your friend or whoever is having their emotion be to be able to witness it and be present for them and not, oh gosh, see, this is a really good conversation because I'm like, just the the things are just trying to connect in my little brain. But in a way, not if I have an emotion and I'm with somebody that I feel is not able to hold that emotion, I'm not able to fully give that. I'm not able to go all the way through it.
Yeah.
And I find, I don't know, I'm just kind of, I need to think about that. So I have to say now that Susan is my coach. So I think a little coaching moment just happened.
An honor, an honor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're a good match.
And part of so the work that Carrie and I do in our coaching, we coach one-on-one, as I'm doing with you, Laurie. We work with teams,
Hmm.
and we also specifically work with women. So we have a very, very strong commitment
Hmm.
to women leading their lives versus life leading them.
Hmm.
And beginning to uncover, I kind of started out this way. What are human beings live in stories? That's the way we live. We have stories about, just like I started in the beginning, like who we are, what we can do, what we can't do. I'm good at art. I'm not that great at math. And these stories seem to take on a life of their own sometimes,
Hmm.
many
Hmm.
of us. And they're old. A lot of them are old.
Yeah, like
And
we
they're like,
become our stories,
we
and
do, we
they're
do.
driving us around.
And that's okay. That
Hmm.
is our humanity.
Hmm.
The important thing is to be able to look at our stories,
Hmm.
to be able to say, well, it's not just what I do and the results I get, it's behind that. What are the beliefs and values and commitments that I hold? And they make up my story. And are they mine? Are they
Mm.
really mine, or did somebody pass those on to me?
Oh, like how would that? Who passed that? How can that happen?
Well, like my mom, like
Oh,
my
I
mom
see.
passed
Hmm.
on the story to me that you're supposed to take care of everybody in the
Oh, yeah,
family.
yeah, yeah.
Or,
Hmm.
um, well, gosh, I mean, I can remember the story, you're to be seen and not heard.
Yeah,
I mean, there are certain stories that are
yeah. Okay, I get you.
not empowering.
Yeah.
And if we don't kind of peel back that layer, then we don't find them, and we just
Hmm.
kind of go on and go on and go on and close down possibilities.
Hmm. So, if someone wants to get in touch with you and work with you, what do they do? How do they get in contact with
They,
you?
they would just go to our website. It's consultnld.com. So my firm, Carrie and my firm, is New Leadership Distinctions, and
Hmm.
it's consultnld.com.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you can just fill out a contact form.
Uh-huh. Well,
Yeah.
I highly recommend Susan. She's my coach, and what do I want to say? Sometimes I don't want to do it, I'm like, oh, I have to look at myself but I just don't think of it like that anymore. Now I'm just like, oh, I get to have a conversation with Susan. And I get really excited now to have conversations and I totally trust your guidance and we go on highs and lows and I'm just my life is definitely enhanced in all directions from knowing you and working with you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Laurie. Thank you. And I have to say that I do the same kind of work that you do. So I have
Mm-hmm.
my own coaches.
Mm-hmm.
I am doing the same kind of inquiry. Just like I take Pilates lessons and you take Pilates lessons,
Mm-hmm.
um, the and I believe this about Pilates, right? Like it never ends. That's what's so amazing
Mm-hmm.
about this method, is that
Right.
it's always fresh.
Mm-hmm.
I always find it amazing that I can get on the reformer, even before my spinal cord injury. I can get on the reformer, I can do the same workout I've done thousands of times before, and it can be
Mm-hmm.
new.
Yeah.
How how amazing is that?
Yeah.
That it's a new conversation, it's a new learning. And that's the way it is for me with my coaching work when I
Mm.
work with a coach. It's
Mm-hmm.
always new. There's always some different kind of inquiry, some realization
Mm-hmm.
that and how do I use it? It informs my relationships with others.
Mm-hmm.
It informs my teaching.
Mm-hmm.
It informs my relationship with myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. That I feel the same way about teaching when I'm hearing when as teachers are going online a frustration that they can't get their clients to do what they want them to do because they can't touch them and they can't they want to yell at their clients because they're not doing what they want. And so what I'm struck with is like I never feel like that. At this point, I have felt like that for sure. But at this point, I feel like, well, if I ask for this and I get this, then I just start to say, well, could I start to inquire, well, can you move your hand here? Or do you like it here? Can you move this hand here? Could you move that hand here? Could your palms face one another?
Right.
And then each step is like a curiosity and then I learn. I'm changed by that because
Yeah.
when I ask for this and I get that, I'm like, wow, I didn't ever think that I would get that. And why does that body do that instead of that? What is it about them that they interpret it? Or what is it about, oh, well, what word did I use? I thought I asked for that, but I will take responsibility and say, well, I thought I asked for that, but I got that. So maybe I made a mistake, or
Mhm.
maybe I did ask for that, and now I'm gonna so I'll just say like, okay, all right, rest, and now face your palms towards one another, and and keep reinventing it rather than kind of like what we were saying before, being making a plan and then trusting and looking at the plan and being present and taking one step at a time. It's kind of doing the same thing, having a conversation with our client and I ask and then I see and then we go back and forth rather than me being like, do that, do that, do
Yeah.
that. Why can't you do that? Do it again. There is some kind of command in our Pilates culture where some teachers, the culture is that the student does not teach, does not speak. And if the student speaks, the teacher's going to get pissed.
Hmm.
That is some ways that classical Pilates is taught. And I guess evolving over the years, my way of teaching is much more conversational.
Mhm. It is.
And I don't know, I'm lost now because I went off on it. I went down
No,
a rabbit hole.
what I love about what you're saying is, first of all, curiosity, right? Curiosity is one of the basic foundational attributes of a great leader, a great teacher, a great friend, to be able to meet someone where they are, So you meet them where they are and you hold them with curiosity and acceptance and compassion. So that's what I'm hearing you say. And it's not
Yes.
about you.
Yeah.
It's not about you at all. It's about them.
Yeah.
And so if they interpret your words in a certain way and you say, well, geez, they interpret it this way. It could be that that's what their body needs. Exactly what you're saying. I'm going to meet them where they are. And I'm going to work with them where they
Yeah.
are.
Yeah. Such a big deal.
And and you witness them. Like you take them to the edge of their comfort zone, right? Because you want them to grow. It's like we say, you work a muscle, right? To build strength in a muscle, you have to have some tears. And then the muscle has to rest to regenerate. So you take them to their edge, but it's a conversational process. It's not like you know what the edge is.
Right. Or I might even I'm kind of been curious about being in the middle. Like, I've been not taking people to, I guess it's a different edge. It is an edge. But instead of perhaps a physical edge, it's more of oh my gosh, the best edge is having somebody go, a Pilates person, be halfway. And it's like a mental edge where it's like, but I'm supposed to be here. And I'm like, oh, no, I think if you come, only stretch maybe 80%. Sometimes I can feel the agitation or that mental edge. Very interested in the mental edges right now.
Yeah, because it makes me think that we have like we're supposed to be stretching all the way out, or we're supposed to be going all the way up, or lifting our leg as high as we can, and that becomes automatic. That becomes like, okay, this is my story, this is the way it goes. And what you're saying is, I'm going to stop that. I'm going to stop that tape. I'm going to stop that reel partway through, and let's see what else they can discover.
Yes. And it's a different, it's a mental shift, but it's also a physical shift. Like say semicircle. Like we do semicircle and we're lifting the hips as high as you can and going as low as you can. And so when you go as high as you can, maybe you get the hip extension, you get the hamstrings and like that. But maybe that is pulling your rib cage here or whatever, And then if you bring your hips a little bit lower, then your ribs can the ribs and arms and neck can be more. So a lot of times, just like manipulating the toy. I call my clients' bodies toys sometimes. Manipulating the toy, it feels like it's not enough, or I'm asking people to back off, but it actually fires up another body part in a way to balance the body. And I find that people that are attached to or accustomed, maybe just accustomed to making certain shapes, when I change it just a little bit, there's just gold in there.
Yeah, and I often think to myself, like you're saying, there's that, like it's mental. I would also offer up that it's emotional.
Yeah. To me, mental and emotional is kind of like, I haven't teased. There's another subject for coaching for me.
Yeah, no, so like between the mind and the body, there's this thing called the heart, and we don't talk about it really that much. But the body is the way in for everything. Look, my coaching 101, The body is the way in. The
Mm.
body's the way into the heart. The body's the way into the mind. The body's the way into inhabit our whole self. And
Mm.
so when you're doing this little tweak or this little massage, you can access the heart too. Right? The person might
Mhm.
not know it, but there might be something calming there. There might be something
Right.
that gets unveiled or unleashed, and they might
Yes.
not even be conscious of it.
Yeah. You know, there's a great question from Gaia. Gaia from Rome. Hi, Gaia. She asked, can you translate in a border of awareness?
Border of awareness.
I love the mental edge theory. Can you translate in a border of awareness? This is so interesting. So, Gaia, I would ask say more because I don't quite. Susan, do you have an interpretation of that?
What I'm thinking, and I don't know if I'm right, is how present we are. Like, are we personally aware of what we're thinking, how we're feeling, how our body is moving through space, and can we put those pieces together?
Hmm.
Because awareness is really, look, we're here, right?
Hmm.
It's only this moment, right? We can't live back there and we can't live there.
Hmm.
So I'm not quite sure what the border of awareness is. There isn't
Yeah.
anything but right now. I don't know if
Right,
that
right, right.
that explains it, Gaia. I don't
The
know.
border of awareness. Border is interesting. That's the word that I'm interested in.
Yeah,
And
maybe it's threshold. You know, there's
oh
threshold.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And so like you walk me over thresholds in Pilates.
Mm-hmm.
And actually you walk with me.
Mm-hmm.
And we do the same thing in our coaching work.
Mm-hmm.
And stepping through a threshold is it's not easy.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we just want to stay on the other side, and
Right,
you don't get over it, you get through it.
right,
So
right. Oh, I love that. Yeah.
does that help, Gaia?
I don't know. I don't know if she asked a great question and then I'm not getting
A
another
response.
response. So I love that threshold and guiding people and being with them and perhaps like noticing with my students, I ask them to look for objective feedback. What is objective about your client? Like, did their eyes squint? Did they catch their breath? Is one hand like this? I ask them to look for objective feedback when they're teaching. Um, I don't know. That's where my mind just went.
Yeah, so and I like that
Hmm.
because so the fact is that we see somebody's hand clench.
Yeah.
That that's a fact.
Hmm.
And then as a teacher, you and I have our own filters and we make meaning of that. And this is where it's so great that you're so
Totally.
curious because we make meaning of, oh, well, her fingers must hurt, or, well, maybe that's not the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we
Or
allow
she's
ourselves
getting angry, or or
tons of possibilities.
yeah. Where the
Tons of
truth is,
possibilities.
this just happened.
Right, that's the fact.
Yeah.
And then to be able to allow yourself to be informed by that and to be curious about that and ask, I see that your fingers are
Yes.
clenched.
And not just say, stretch your fingers long.
Right.
Stretch your fingers long now. Stop clenching your hand. Why are you clenching your hand? Stretch your fingers. Lengthen your posture. Pull your stomach in. Stretch straighten your knee, don't hyperextend your knees. It's like total overload and boss city. And,
Mhm.
I have a problem with that. And I definitely have filtered. In my own workouts, I guess that's where I have the problem. Like I've learned now to filter. If I have a teacher that I'm working with that I really value and there's a little extra overlay of bah, 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 I've learned to just like just and I train my students how to you know, let some of that go so that they can benefit from working with some strong command teachers.
Mm,
So,
mm.
sorry, you were saying.
I like both.
Yeah.
I like to have, I like to be, I like to be challenged,
Mm-hmm.
and then I like to be heard.
Right. Mm.
So I want to know that my coach or my teacher is listening
Mm-hmm.
to me,
Right.
and that it is a conversation. And at the same time, my expectation is that you challenge me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And challenge can mean a lot of different things. Challenge can challenge can be jump higher, stretch longer, and challenge can also be wait, don't move a
Yes.
muscle, don't move a muscle,
Yeah.
don't not yet, not yet, wait for it, go 10%, go 20%, and go the whole way, the whole way, the whole way, the whole way, and stop. Wait for it.
Yeah. And so there's a comment
Oh.
that says here that the body only takes what it needs at that moment. And I really love that because our bodies hold so much wisdom. And so I totally agree with that.
Mm.
And I'm going to say that many of us override the messages that our bodies give us. Like
Mm.
we don't necessarily always listen. Maybe we Pilates instructors do, like we're more aware, or my community of coaches in the way we're trained, the people in my Enneagram community. But oftentimes I find that clients, they don't know their body. Like they don't even know
Right. They don't know
that
if
they're
something is
how to connect to their
healthy
body.
or, yeah.
Yeah. So I love what you're saying, that the body only takes what it needs.
Hmm.
Sometimes I think our expectations in our mind push us past it.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know,
I think that's
listening.
why sometimes with the high command teachers, I think that's why I have to kind of pull back a little bit because as a dancer, I just swallowed everything whole. I was like, jump, yes, yes. Straight leg, yes. And I kind of hurt myself and I had to kind of like shield a little bit with the suggestions and
Yeah,
take them as suggestions and not as commandments.
right. And so that's your filter. So it's a super great example because you came from, that's part of your history, and that's a culture that you spent a lot of time in.
Hmm.
And it formed the lens through which you hear the world
Hmm.
in some way, hear and see and sense the world. And you have come to understand that some of that was great for you and that some of it doesn't serve you anymore.
Yeah. So
And so
just
you need
sorting.
to, you're letting go,
Yeah.
right? You're letting go of what's not serving you anymore.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of the work, whether
Hmm.
we're living in the coaching world or we're living in the Pilates world.
So, Susan, I have written all these questions, but we have just been flowing along for a
We
really
have,
long time. And we did say we were going to go 20 minutes, and
yes,
we're going way over. But I don't
yes.
care. I don't care if anyone watches really, because I'm just enjoying myself and I'm enjoying you.
Thank you. Likewise.
So
It was
I
such
want
an honor to
to
be with
ask
you.
you, what are you most looking forward to when we are allowed to roam and interact freely?
Yeah. I'm going to say hugs.
Hugs.
I miss hugs. I miss
Hmm.
physically being with people. I miss
Yeah.
eye contact. People don't even make eye contact in a lot of
Yeah.
instances. So I
Now
want
I
to get
hear
a sense of,
dogs.
I know, I hear them. Try and take them. There's this sense of community that I want back.
Hmm.
It um, yeah, connection.
Yeah. Physical connection.
Yes, I think for me, physical is an important part of connection.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, and this is like, I want to touch you.
Yeah.
I just want to touch you.
That
And
that's what everyone is saying when they're teaching that. You want to touch your client and you're touching the
yeah,
screen, and I've definitely have felt that too. Yeah, I want to touch and hug, and I can't wait until my first like workout with in a busy studio where all the bodies are moving all around. I just can't wait for that.
yeah, that energy, I miss that energy.
Yeah.
And Tom and I have been finding some of that energy through nature
Hmm.
because we're not able to get it as much through people. And
Hmm.
so, in some ways, this has been a blessing because I've become more appreciative of um, the earth and
Hmm.
the trees and the flowers. And it sounds woo-woo, but that's live energy. Every single solitary living thing on this planet, and a lot of people believe even inanimate things, they have energy.
Hmm.
And so the birds they give me hugs,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the flowers, and
Mm.
listening to the rain. So
Mm.
there's been that pause.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, this I'm in May, I'm almost always traveling somewhere, either with my husband or with Pilates. And this May, April and May, um, we are watching our rhododendrons bloom and hearing the birds. Like there's different birds now than there were in March. So yeah, paying attention to nature because we're quieting in a way, staying still.
and how lucky are we
Yeah,
then?
totally lucky. Yes, to have a yard, to have a house, to have space, to have enough food. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I don't want to lose that.
yeah.
And many times Carrie and I, in our work with our clients, we always give a development plan. And many times, always a somatic practice. Many times that will be a practice in nature.
Hmm. Yeah.
That will be for a person to take off their shoes and socks and go out and
Mm.
walk in the grass.
Hmm.
Take an hour and walk through a wild flower farm.
Yeah.
Go
Wow.
to um, a greenhouse where they grow orchids.
Mm.
There's always some kind of a somatic practice often where we're able to connect with energy. We miss it because we're so busy.
Yeah, 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 the feet. That just kind of wraps it around full circle for me. Yesterday I started with the feet and with Pilates, and today I want to end with the thought of having our feet in nature. Yeah,
Love it. I'm right
yeah.
there with you.
So, Susan,
Thank
it
you
was a
so much. I
pleasure.
loved it. Love you.
Pleasure. Love you
Love you.
too. And I'll see you on
Very
the other
good.
side.
Yep.
Thanks, all the
Looking forward to
Instagram
my lesson.
watchers. Yes.
Thank you all.
Okay, bye, everybody.
Bye.